She was more than her name. They called her Bobo Shanty, a nickname that once echoed through Mathara's tight alleys. Shanty was a girl with flair, dreams, and tragedy in her eyes. Born in November 1999 in the heart of Nairobi's Mathare, she was many things: a daughter, a friend, a mother, and a dreamer. But when poverty knocked hard, she answered with whispers of rebellion. Hello and welcome to Dark Our Dogs, where shadows speak and truth finds light. Tonight on Dark Our Dogs, we trace the story of Esther Wanjiku Karuri, a life that burned with possibility and ended in darkness. Viewer discretion is advised. Matters concerning birth and birthplace tend to define destinies. In Mathare, a map of hope and hardship, Esther came into this world in November 1999. She was raised by her mother in a modest two-bedroom flat and later joined by a younger sister. Esther grew up watching her mother hustle. There was no time for despair. It was a home bound by sacrifice. Life in Mathare meant resilience, learning to live with what you had, not even when dreams outgrow your surroundings. However, school there was a place that offered an escape for Esther. Primarily attending a nearby primary school, young Esther initially thrived. She was young, bright, curious, and a lively girl. But when teenage pressures met rising costs, she lost her way. Her circle changed. Childhood classmates dropped out. Streets became classrooms. She drifted away as she was drawn to the energy of nights and the pull of quick money. Behind her smart grin and love for fashion lay the beginnings of tensions. Life always whispered opportunity to her, but those opportunities were seldom free. Distractions like vaping and small thefts crept in, and yet her mother never gave up. She remained watchful and hopeful. Esther's first child, Leilani, would come soon, but not yet. Mother taught her to survive long before she understood how to grow. Teenage years are often filled with stormy decisions. For Esther, it wasn't long before school became a secondary concern. Peer pressure planted seeds of rebellion. Esther started taking small risks such as skipping classes, meeting older boys, and dabbling in petty theft. This path began with a single lapse, a stolen phone, and Kenya shillings 20,000 from a man she had met after a night out. Rumors flew of a TikToker with fast life and flashy attitude. That theft in December 2023 broke a dam. It spilled into classrooms, whispered across WhatsApp, becoming her cautionary tale. Investigations began. She vanished. From that point, her life diverged even further. It was no longer just a teenager filled with mischief, but a pivot towards deeper shadows. As a very talented, creative, and ambitious woman, Bobo took a job at a hair salon. To outsiders, her online presence and a good job looked ordinary, but behind closed doors, she drifted towards friends from the streets. They taught her the taste of easy money, with drug use becoming common. The salon gig, which was her lifeline, became a backdrop to a different world. The birth of Lelaini came almost as a shock, a beautiful accidental miracle. As a single mother, Esther struggled. Her baby belonged to no father. She was alone with no stable source of income and no support. She tried. In early 2024, Esther's path took a darker turn. She became closer to Frederick Kopo, commonly known as Frick, and Jaylan Kibe. Frick and Kibe were hardened thieves. both local toughs vying for control of Eastleigh's street syndicates. They belonged to the kind of crew where loyalty is currency and robbery is tradecraft. Esther even became something of an informant, buzzing with information about potential targets. Those she once loved were now afraid of her, and those who welcomed her were now wary. Yet, in her, Esther held something different. She held energy, was spicy, had flair, and loved danger. Footage from early 2024 shows a social media personality posing with money and flaunting party life. 4 days before their crime, she was in Mombasa scouting cars and wearing makeup. In those videos, you can sense her thrill and the rush of a new wealth. But there is always a cost, and as long as money comes first, consequences comes faster. Her world tilted from unstable to irreversibly dangerous. March 30, 2024 was a morning buzzing with life in Eastleigh. Adan Ali Mohammed, a Somali businessman, had just left BBS Mall with Kenya shillings 3.9 million. These were proceeds from an oil sale, and his destination was the bank. But at that time, the bank was closed. He therefore held a motorbike, which now seems like it was a wrong decision. Seconds later, a motorcycle carrying two men and a girl rides by. Suddenly, the men pounced on Adan Ali and shots were fired towards him. What followed was a lot of pain on his neck and spine.
In a CCTV footage of the incident that took place at around 11 a.m. on 30th March, two people riding on a motorcycle are intercepted in traffic by another motorcycle carrying two people. One of the interceptors walks over to the victim and shoots him at close range and then grabs a green bag from him after he falls on the ground. Aden Ali Mohammed was shot in the neck and the bullet exited through the back, leaving him with serious spinal cord injury.
Esther was just standing there, vigilant and watching. She was not the shooter, but was a key planner, an insider, and a watcher. They took 3.9 million and left the victim with gunshot wounds and vanished into chaos. CCTV frames were able to capture them as they left. Though recorded, the motorbike plates were invisible and their faces were blurred. Nonetheless, the exit was caught on CCTV, with 3 souls and 1 fatality. The incident was extensively spoken about, not just because of the money stolen, but due to the thrill accompanying the daylight robbery and the boldness. Despite being their moment of power, this was the beginning of their downfall. Days after the robbery, these 3 arrived in Mombasa on April 3, 2024. They were shopping for a car that was rumored to be their escape plan. They roamed a lot and tested engines as the money burned holes in their pockets. But then, the unexpected happened. They were approached by 3 men who had a different kind of plan. These men lured them in a black car under the pretense that they had a better deal, and they vanished. No one knows whether they were handcuffed, and there were no records. They just vanished in thin air. Was it the police, a rival gang, or people on a vengeance mission? Esther fans, her followers, and her family were all bewildered. There was no bail, neither was there a confession, just silence. Their phones were off and social media dead, and then came the bodies. On April 4, 2024, in Kiambu County, the body of Frederick Kopo, aka Freak, was found. The body was found in a thick bush in Lari. He had a broken leg and one eye was missing. 4 days later, in April 8th, Jelan Kibe's body was found in Nairobi mortuary and was later buried in Karura Muslim Cemetery. Later on, April 10th, Bobo Shanty's body was found in Juja by Car Wash River. She died only aged 24. Reports suggested that she drowned, but autopsy said that she was a victim of strangulation. Therefore, evidence pointed that she was executed. Human Rights Watch and Kenya Human Rights Commission demanded answers. Questions flew. How did suspects under arrest end up dead? Was this silence justice? Who walked away with the 3.9 million shillings? Photos and videos circulated online, and people wondered. Some said they must have been killed by police. Others wondered how else they would have died in custody. The money is still missing, with no trace by banks and no records of arrest. The case remains a mystery in a murder within a robbery. Crime never pays. Murder may provide closure, but for Leilani, who was left orphaned and barely a child, that truth is too new, too late. The tombstone of Esther reads, a mother, a daughter, and a young woman who lost her way. It is a silent scream to the youth of Nairobi. Support them early and catch them when they fall. If at all Esther had met a ship, if the community had rallied, and if the price of poverty didn't weigh so heavy, then maybe. And to authorities, this cannot be justice. This cannot be an extrajudicial solution. Transparency is needed, not just for Esther, but for every young life lost to silent bullets and hidden motives. Esther's life spanned 24 short years, a microcosm of Nairobi's promise and peril. She was Bobo Shanty, a girl from Mathare, a mother of one and a shadow in the eyes of the law. She chose the path of danger, but was that her only choice? And who paid the ultimate price? Darkness claimed her. But her story must not be swallowed by silence. This has been Dark Our Dogs. If you found this story compelling, please share, because shadows linger until someone turns on the light. Please like and subscribe for more compelling and thought-provoking narratives.